Hey folks, it's your girl, Lexi Mahari, back with another episode of the People Are People podcast, Life Lessons Learned in Real Time, where we talk about the meaning of being a people manager in 2022. This year, we're going to touch on all the things you need to be a successful manager in today's workplace. And in this episode, we are going to dive into getting to know the team that you will be managing as a brand new manager. I think, unfortunately, people really underestimate the importance of this particular component of your onboarding process. I think sometimes we get so wrapped around the axle of just wanting to learn our job, wanting to understand better what it is our new boss wants from us, that we can sometimes minimize or, drop down on the priority list the importance of getting to know the team that we are going to be leading as new managers. And so I am going to dive into just a few key things that you can do to kind of help get the wheels turning, on that train for you getting to know your team, building some level of a rapport with your team, and really understanding, who is it that is going to be working with you. And I say working with you. Yes, you're the leader of the pack. You make a lot of the final decisions as relates to your team, but ultimately you're also working with these people. So you are relying on them heavily for their work experience, their education. If they're lacking in those areas, sometimes you're just working with them because they have the drive, to get the job done. So I really wanted to dive into the importance of getting to know your team, and how you can go about doing so within the first 30 to 90 days of being on the job. Now, what I highly encourage you to do is, if at all possible, within the first 5 to 10 business days of being on the job as a manager, that you schedule some initial communications. Your first communication may occur via email, in which you're just introducing yourself to the team. Your boss typically will do this, but I encourage you to follow up with another email to the team that's a little more personal. You know, uh, Introducing yourself, letting them know that you are on the ground and, you're ready to work with them. You're looking forward to working with them, and just giving them some insight into what they can expect over the next 30 days. Now, typically, again, your hiring boss should send out some communication saying, hey, Sally Joe is starting on X date. What you can expect to see is that she will be onboarding, learning more about their job, that she will be attending some new hire training potentially. She will be involved in multiple meetings. Typically, you would hope that your hiring boss will send out that level of communication. But there are times when that does not happen, or you may not be on the communication that's going out. So you don't have any insight into what information or communication your team has received. So it will go a long way for you to send out your own communication that is personalized. It also lays the groundwork for transparency. Your team will get an opportunity to feel as though you are potentially being transparent with them as relates to, what it is you're going to be doing for the next few weeks, how available you're going to be to them or not be to them. And, it just kind of lays the groundwork leading up to your group and one-to-one meetings. So the first thing you want to do is to get your email communication out. Next, you're going to want to schedule a quick group meeting with your team if possible. Now, you may obviously want to talk with your hiring manager about that. Make sure, they have no qualms with you doing so. Sometimes it depends on how you were brought into the company, if there's any pre-existing situations that you need to be aware of. But for the most part, once you send out your email communication introducing yourself and letting the team know what to expect, which may include letting them know that you're going to be scheduling a group meeting, I should add, you will want to go ahead and schedule that group meeting with your team. The purpose of the group meeting is just fairly simple. They're introductions, high level introductions for you to meet and greet your team without your boss there, because you will get an opportunity to see them without the influence of your boss, on the line if you're virtual, or standing there in the room. You want to keep this meeting high level. You're going to want to review, once again, or provide a high level overview of your plans for the next few weeks. So you'll talk to them about the fact that you'll be onboarding, whatever that looks like. How busy are you going to be? Meaning, are you in a training course, Monday through Friday from 8 to 5? Are you only in the training course 2 days a week? Uh, are you aware of any meetings you're going to be getting pulled into that might occupy your time? You'll want to make sure they have just a high level overview of what your schedule looks like. You know, Additionally, because we've already hinted at the fact that you're going to be having one-to-ones with them, you'll want to point out to them that you are planning to schedule one-to-ones with them just to get an opportunity to meet with everybody separately. You'll want to also be careful not to make any commitments during that initial meeting, the initial group meeting. You want to avoid making any commitments to anything that you're not aware of, right? If someone raises a question about something that you're not familiar with, or you sense that there is a concern, let them know that you'll take it away and you'll follow up with them, and make sure you do follow up with them. But there may be some situations that you're not fully aware of because you're still onboarding. So you want to make sure that you allot the time necessary to be able to address that. So try to keep your meeting high level. If you get specific questions about things, take notes, let them know that you're going to circle back with them, and make sure you follow through on that again, because this is kind of like your testing period. Your new team is going to not only be looking for your communication style and how transparent you are with them, but they're also going to be using some of these moments as tests, right? Are you good at following up on things if they bring them to your attention? So make sure you're very meticulous in documenting any information or questions that are coming at you. So you'll host your group meeting, within those first 5 to 10 business days, preferably, sooner than later. And then you'll have your one-to-one meetings scheduled. So what should you plan to do during your one-to-one meetings? Well, you want to use them as meet and greets. This is your opportunity to get to know your team on a personal level or a one-to-one level versus them in the group. Often, group meetings can get a little tricky, particularly when you're first diving into wanting to understand who people are, wanting to understand more about the challenges of the team itself, their perceptions of things. Group meetings can turn into groupthink or people speaking for other people, and those who are maybe not so vocal just not saying anything at all. So you want to quickly have those one-to-one meetings on the tail end of that group meeting. And if at all possible, it would be great if you maybe stack the meetings now. The reality is that your schedule may be horrific in the first few weeks. So your ability to schedule multiple 30-minute sessions with your individuals on your team in a single day could easily prove difficult. But I recommend trying to schedule them in a single day. That will help to reduce some of the conversations that may occur outside of the one-to-one meetings about what you talked about with other people. If you're coming into a company for the first time, you know, um, a lot of times people have pre-existing, pre-standing relationships, and they're going to talk. And so what you want to do is to really try to uh, schedule your meetings in a way that allow you to have some real conversations before others become influenced by the questions, right? Or they're made aware of the kinds of questions that you're asking. So schedule your meetings, if at all possible, in a single day. I understand if you have a large team, that can be very difficult to do. And so, at the end of the day, if you have a large team, you may have to stretch it out over a week. But I even still would recommend that you not stretch them out too far apart. The danger in stretching the meetings out too far, meaning let's say you meet with employee A on the third of the month, and then you meet with employee H at the end of the month, is, someone may feel as though you did not prioritize their wants and needs or their concerns and such. So you want to schedule the meeting in a way where people feel as though everyone feels as though what they have to say is important to you. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to schedule your one-to-ones. You're going to try to stack them as much as you can so that you can get in and meet with everyone. And then what are you going to talk about during this meet and greet? So your meet and greet should not only be an introduction of you to that individual and that person, at a high level back to you, but you're going to use this as your casual interview. You're basically going to use this as an opportunity to understand who this individual is that is on your team. So you're going to talk to them a little bit about their work experience outside of the company and inside of the company. Talk with them a little bit about their educational background, a little bit about their career plans, short term and long term. You want to know this information. The reason why understanding what an individual's career goals are, what their education is it helps you to get a sense of where your team is at this point. How tenured are the people on your team? How likely is it that they are going to remain with you on that team? Are they perhaps potentially looking elsewhere? If you have someone who is currently in school, let's say maybe they're going back for their master's degree or maybe they're going back for their master's degree or their doctoral degree, or some people may be getting an additional bachelor's. This can be important information for you because it can help you to understand, are they planning to stay with you or are they planning to, move elsewhere in the company, or are they planning to leave the company? And there is no wrong answer to, what they tell you. And you're going to have to prepare yourself for not taking it personally. I know you may feel like just because you're there, you are here to save the day and everyone's going to love you and you're going to make this huge difference in everyone's lives. But the reality is, everyone is working towards their own individual, everyone is working towards their own personal goals. And so the likelihood that you will have someone on your team who is already looking for another job is very high. Other factors to consider is you may have someone on your team that applied for the very job that you're in and they did not get it. And this is just, one more thing that is going to push them out the door. And you have to remember that it's not about you. It's not personal. It's just this person is at a place now where they have to move on and go do something somewhere else. And, at the end of the day, you may not want them to stay on the team. It can make for an awkward relationship sometimes with you and that employee. So you want to understand a little bit about that. The other great thing about understanding what your employees' goals are professionally is there may be an opportunity for you to engage them on different projects. People have goals sometimes, but they're wanting their goals tie into the team itself and they want to be involved in the activities or things that are happening within the team itself because they care that much about that team. So this is where, you can use the information that they give you to determine where they might fit into any future projects that are going to come up. Um, Next, you want to understand what their perception of the company is. How well the company is performing. Do they like it? Do they like working for the company? What do they like about the company? What do they not like about the company? And also their perception of the team. Now, in the initial meeting, this can get tricky. Some people are not going to be open with you about what it is they do or don't like about the team. Others will unload and they will tell you everything that is wrong with the department, the company, and so you'll have to kind of parcel out what are the things that are relevant and, what's true, what perhaps is specific to that employee that, really isn't anything that you can address, but you can take note of and use this information to help you again with any potential future strategies that you have coming up or potential projects that you have coming up that you may need some help with. Sometimes the people who are the most vocal or the biggest critic are actually great to pull in on projects. Now, Yes, you're going to have a percentage of people who just love to complain, but they don't want to do the work to help fix it. So yes, you'll have to prepare yourself for those people. But there are vocal, very interested in, having a role in how things function on the team. And those are the people that you're going to want to keep close and keep engaged in different projects going on. Some people just love being in the know, and you'll be able to use that to your advantage. Now, another important thing for you to get some insight into is understanding how these individuals view their role on the team and or even within the company. But you want to understand, how are they seeing themselves on your team, and how do they perceive others to see them? I once inherited a team of 5 associates or 5 employees, who pretty much did the same job as the other 20 people who I was already managing. However, they had different levels of education, so different educational backgrounds, but they did the same thing. These were clinical associates, so meaning they were licensed nurses. One was an RN and one was an LPN. And so there were some real uh, concerns about how the LPN perceived everyone to view them, how that LPN felt treated by other individuals. And so it it really helped me to understand what was I walking into. Because for me on my team, we didn't have that discrepancy. Everybody did the same thing. Everybody was treated the same way. And that was not the case on this team. So if there was a perception by other people that this other group was less than, that's something I need to be aware of and have a sense of how it could impact the team in moving forward. So you'll want to have some idea of that as well. And if there's a sense of doom and gloom, right? Maybe you're the fourth manager in an 18-month period and they don't trust that you're going to stay or that you'll be able to make a difference. And so, while you're not going to spend the whole year trying to prove yourself, you're going to want to just have this information handy so that you understand how to best navigate through communication activities or exercises, again, projects that you may pull them in to support you with, and overall, whenever change is about to hit the team, how they might feel about it or how it might impact them. Finally, you'll want to be prepared to speak about the vision for the team, whether it's your personal vision for the team or it's that of your direct line leader. Sometimes when you're just starting out as a manager, you don't really have a vision just yet. So you kind of lean on what your direct line leader has told you, to be their vision for the team. And you just go about looking for ways to help execute that. Other times, you may have autonomy enough to make your decisions about the vision for the team and how it will be carried out. Occasionally, as a manager, you will get lucky enough to have that level of autonomy, and your direct line leader will just say, "Go forth and do great things." And so, in those instances, you will want to be prepared to provide that detail at a high level as well. And if you don't have all the details worked out for what that vision or what the work will entail to carry that vision out, be honest with them and say, "Hey, I don't know what that work looks like at this time, but this is the vision for the team. This is what you can expect." Don't be afraid to share that information. At the end of the day, if people are going to leave, they're going to leave. Hopefully they'll stay and they'll want to take an active role in your vision. But, if not, it's okay. And you're going to have to be okay with everyone not co-signing your vision for the team. Okay, folks. That concludes this episode of the People Are People podcast, Life Lessons Learned in Real Time. Please take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next episode.